Hey guys, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Today I am very intentionally doing something that's not so much of a spring soup. It's actually a warm soup. It's a warm, healing type of soup. And the soup is actually for my daughter. So she went to see the doctor and he said that she's got excess yin. That's a big thing. So at the end, in traditional Chinese medicine, the whole purpose is to really have balance within the body, right? It's balance between yin and yang. And so with excess yin, what we want to do is just warm the body. And so today I'm actually making a very different type of soup from a spring summer soup. It's going to actually be a warmer winter herbal soup. And let me talk you through the ingredients and the soup design in this. I normally don't wear an apron because I just don't, but today there's going to be a lot of chicken. So chicken is your key ingredient for winter and more herbal soups. So herbal-based soups tend to have chicken, and the Chinese actually put some pork in it as well, which is interesting. So if you go to restaurants, you'll have little bits of pork in chicken soup. So it's not purely chicken soup, which is quite interesting. There is some pork to really enhance flavors, but today I'm going purely chicken. And the key thing with most herbal soups is that, let me show you. Today I am using a black silky chicken, and these things actually do exist in real life. It's just a dark skinned chicken, that's all it is. And essentially they are more said to be more healing and used really nicely when you do herbal soup. So if you can find this wherever you live, I would totally try it and suggest that you do. They are usually smaller too. So this is the black silky chicken. It does exist on Wikipedia as a breed of chicken, but they have white feathers, white soft feathers. So it's quite interesting, but the skin is black, which is why it's called the black silky chicken. So I've got the whole chicken today, which I'm gonna do. The other thing I'm doing today is, because I'm going to be making a soup to drink, this is why I usually go live, because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna time it anyway. The second thing is to make soup packs. So what I'm doing today is I'm actually gonna make 6 portions of soup. Each portion of packs, so the soup packs come like this in these little packages. Each portion is good for 4 to 6 people. And so that's what I'm doing today. Today I'm going to be making soup that's going to serve about maybe 6 people. And then I'm going to be making soup packs, 4 of these that I keep in the freezer. So anytime I need a warm healing soup, I'm going to just take it out of my freezer, drop it in the rice cooker or in a small pot and make that. All right, so let me talk through the ingredient base. I'm actually got my black silky chicken. This is the base. And I usually tend to pair with, so that's warming. I'm thinking, all right, if I'm doing warming, I'm gonna start with black silky chicken. Tends to be the nice warming healing piece. And then I've got red dates. So red dates is actually really key if you wanna do a warm herbal healing soup. Red dates help blood circulation, replenishes qi. This is a key ingredient for those who want to warm the body and increase yang in the body. The other key ingredient actually is Chinese yam, or yes, Chinese yam. They're also called like Japanese yam as well. They look like this. This is the fresh version. This is the dried version. They're essentially the same thing. If you can find it fresh, you can get it at the supermarket. They've been pre-peeled and kind of cut. And the dried ones look like this, right? They're just like long, flat pieces. When my mom was making them when I was little, I would see them like, what is this? But now that I know, it's quite fascinating. That actually, if you don't have fresh yam, dried yam works perfectly as well. So you can use these in your soup as well. The other warming ingredient that I'm gonna be using for an herbal soup is dried scallops. And so dried scallops actually add flavor to the soup. It's a seafood, so it's a little bit cooling, but they just add a little bit of flavor. Dried scallops, dried octopus, dried shrimp all serve very similar purposes when you're adding flavor to an herbal or warming soup base. The other warming ingredient, if you're gonna go with a warming soup, is dried longanians. So these are the dried fruits of the longanians, and they are very warming. They're heaty, so they help also replenish blood, increase blood circulation, which is great for excess yin if you need more yang in your body. The other key one I think for, and you know what's interesting, because what I've put out here is basically my basic herbal kitchen. So these are all the key ingredients that I keep in my pantry 24/7. And so if I'm out of them, it's always nice to have. The dried tangerine is the other one that I'm using today. And this is going to be for the herbal soup. I'm going to use only half a piece for each soup pack and each soup because it is very bitter. So what we're going to do is pre-soak this first. And I'll show you how to prepare the tangerine peels. It's quite unique. You can drop it in if you'd like, but if you have time, you can prepare them ahead of time. So for the soup today, I'm going to prepare this. What happens is you soak it and you scrape off the inside edge of the tangerine peel. That's where it's actually most bitter. The most beneficial part of the tangerine peel is actually the outside skin. So that's what you want to be preserving when you're preparing soup. For frozen soup packs, I won't pre-soak and pre-clean this. I'm just going to drop it in dried. So I'll show you the difference between the two. Let's soak that first. All right, so for the tangerine peel, super easy. For today's soup, I'm just going to use one slice like this in water. Hold on. And just let it sit in water like this so it softens. And once it softens, then you can scrape off the inside, which is actually the really bitter piece of the dried tangerine peel. So we'll let that soak for a bit. The other key ingredient today, optionals if you have it, is dried licorice root. Looks like this. This is warming, also helps with excess yin or increasing the yang in the body. And what I'm gonna do is add just maybe 2 slices per portion of soup, just like this. And you could also add dong quai if you want. That's actually like female ginseng, which is very warming, very healing. But for the purpose of today, I'm not going to do that because as soon as you eat dong quai, you can feel it. Your blood is like warm. It's quite fascinating as an effect. And then finally, the goji berries or wolfberries if you'd like. This is really nice for also the eyes and helps replenish blood and the qi as well in the body. And then for flavoring, I'm just adding corn. So corn goes nicely with Chinese yam. And so this is going to be my soup base today. So for those joining, I'm making a Chinese warming herbal soup. My daughter went to see the doctor and he said that she's got excess yin. So that means she's going to need a little more yang to balance the body. And so it's not going to be too warming, but warming enough that I know it's summer, which is contradictory, but that's where it gets strange, right? It's not. In fact, sometimes even when the weather's warm outside, from a traditional Chinese medicine perspective, you're looking at the condition of the body, right? First and foremost. And then of course, if there are external conditions, you want to look at that. And so that's kind of how it works. So I'm going to start preparing my stuff. So what we're going to do now is, oh yes, it is. The licorice root, absolutely, cacao. That's what it is in Mandarin. Yeah, the licorice root, absolutely. So what I'm gonna do now, just for efficiency's sake, is I'm going to boil my pot. So when I mentioned making soup packs, for those who are interested in making frozen soup packs as well, I'm doing this together to be efficient. I'm making a soup for dinner, and I'm also making 4 frozen soup packs that I just keep in the freezer. So it's just gonna be economies of scale at this point. So when I am preparing frozen soup packs, it's 100% ready to go, which means pre-blanched, pre-washed, pre-cut. And that's what I'm gonna do today. So I'm gonna do that anyway for my soup. So I'm gonna just pre-blanch all the chicken, cut them up first, pre-blanch them, and then put them in the frozen soup packs and then seal. So when they freeze, it's actually completely prepared. That's the idea of the frozen soup packs. And the idea is that it's like no work, right? And so if I want soup, I'll just take it out of the freezer and drop it in, and I know that it's clean, prepared, and boiled. All right. So going to pre-boil my blanching pot right there. Today, because I'm using more herbs, and I get this question a lot about whether you should use metal pots, ceramic, clay, depending on the soup. So because I am intending to do more of an herbal based soup, I am going with a ceramic pot. So these pots like this, rather than a metal pot or my cast iron. And the reason is because there is the thinking that the metal reacts quite interestingly or differently. It changes the properties of some of the herbs. And that's why I would suggest if you do make an herbal soup that you go with ceramic or clay. And you can get those in your supermarket. So this is a very traditional one that's more like Corningware, which you can do stews, cooks, whatever, and that's perfect. And so I'm gonna prepare my chicken now as the blanching pot boils. And then I'm gonna just add some salt to this. Right here. 1 second. I hear an alarm ringing, so I'll be right back. All right, sorry, I'm back. Okay, so preparing the chicken. So because I'm making 6 portions today, 2 portions of which we're drinking there, and 4 portions are gonna be in these frozen soup packs. Then I've kind of already measured out how much I want. So if I'm gonna make 1 portion of soup, it's going to be 1/4 of the silky chicken. And so for those who've not seen this before, this is a black silky chicken, perfect for herbal warming soups. Chicken tends to be the protein for warming soups. And so for me, it's available at the supermarket. It's available, and I love them, they're tasty. So I'm gonna do this first. All right, I usually don't wear an apron, but the reason I did is because I'm not a fan of chicken juice all over my clothing or corn juice. And so maybe we'll do that first. So I'm using corn today for the flavoring. Corn is very neutral, perfect for herbal soups, perfect for spring soups, actually perfect for a lot of soups. Because I'm making 6 portions, I've got 3 corn. All I know is I'm gonna use half. So you can watch me as I prep this really quickly. Gosh, hold on. I tell you, I'm not set up to go live sometimes. Okay, so just do it in quarter. And a neat trick about doing corn, and I know that, so what I do is very easily, you can just snap them in half. That's the easiest way so you don't get corn juice all over yourself. That's one way. And then what I will do is also, I'm gonna quarter them now at this point. And so the neat trick that my mom taught me is if you're using a cleaver and you wanna cut your corn, just use it right at the edge, right at the back end here, and it'll split open. So just like that, and you split it open. And that makes it easy. So first of all, the juice is not going everywhere. So you could do it like this, like right flat, but it's not the easiest to do because the juice does go everywhere and it doesn't always cleanly cut it through. So if you want to do corn really easily, use the edge, the bottom corner here, stick it in and pop it open. Do it again, like that. It's awesome. Then I'm not getting all the corn juices everywhere. All right, there we go. So you use a little bit more force, just do the corner, and all you do is pop it in and then just like pry it open. It's like fantastic. So not so much afraid of corn anymore because it does fly juices everywhere. So I'm gonna have about half a corn for each portion. That's what I'm doing now. And now I'm gonna prepare the chicken. The chicken, I'm sorry if I butcher it horribly. This is the black silky chicken, like this, okay? Just make sure you're using clean hands. And what I'm going to do is actually use only half for today's soup, and then 1/4 for each portion. And I'll talk about this. So in Chinese soups, okay, here we go. This is the head. So in Chinese soups, I'm actually going to use the head as well, and the neck. And the reason is because it's part of the soup. You want the flavors to come out, so it really doesn't matter. Nobody eats it anyway. And I do keep the skin on. Actually, the black silky chicken, all of it is what's really healthy. And they are usually a skinnier chicken, so you have less fat, which is actually a huge benefit to the soup. You're not scooping all the fat out. And just flavorful in a different way. So I really like the black silky chicken, less to eat and more for soups. And so for those joining right now, what I'm doing right now is the feet. What I'm doing now is actually just butchering, carving if you'd like, the nicer word, my black silky chicken that we're using for my Chinese herbal soup today. All right, and then the feet. So the feet I will always keep. Some people talk about, here's the debate, whether you cut the nails off or not of your chicken. Again, I don't think it matters. Look, the black silky chicken actually has super long nails. That's crazy. But again, up to you. If you plan to eat it, I will cut off the nails. Like, and all you need to do is just chop off the end of the cartilage piece. And again, using the back end of your knife is much easier for control. There we go. So the feet I will keep. A few reasons for keeping the feet. One, and I know for some people They're not used to it. Huge collagen benefits. There's a lot of collagen in the feet, and you'll know this if you test it out, is if you buy a lot of chicken feet and you boil it in soup, the soup actually does thicken. And so that's how you know that there's a lot of collagen in there, and fish heads are the same. And so I love using those ingredients just for myself and family. All right. Okay, so if I'm doing frozen soup packs, I'm not gonna be using any of these parts. These are going to be for my main soup today, which I'm making in that pot. And then I'm gonna be making 4 frozen soup packs for safekeeping in my freezer. All right, here's the rest, doing the thigh. And so, sorry, let me throw this stuff out. Yes. You know, I've never, all right, here's a new experience for me, for you all as well. I've never butchered, carved, cut any meats live. I'm a bit nervous actually. No judgment. I know this. This is why I go live, right? And this is why people go live, is maybe sometimes it's preset, but no judgment. I'm just gonna carve up the chicken as best as I can. Oh, here we go. Thighs coming out. All right. All right, so taking up the thigh. For the purpose of frozen packs, I will actually cut them smaller. And the reason is so that I can actually do them like puzzle pieces all around a frozen soup pack. And that's kind of what you want. You could do it like this in a frozen soup pack, but depending on size of rice cooker, size of pot, the whole idea of a frozen soup pack is that it's meant for 2 to 4, essentially. So let's just cut this really small. Ooh. Okay, no fear on the butcher side. So frozen soup packs, it's gonna be about this size, like this. And that's perfect. The water is boiling. All right, let's turn that off while I finish butchering this. I didn't realize it would take so long. I'm sorry for those who are just watching me cut this chicken. It is quite fun. But I will admit I'm not the best with cutting chicken. I'm very slow. And I have seen people who cut them like so professionally. But I'm not a professional chef. Sorry for those, to disappoint those who thought I was. But I'm just like a regular person who loves cooking and wanted to really save this soup recipes from my mother because I was wondering why she was putting in certain ingredients in soups. And so that's really what this journey started with, and that's why I'm here. All right, let's keep going working on this. Sorry. You can come back, I promise. I will be done. It's not gonna take all day, all morning, or all night at this point. I have to get this going. So with the chicken wing again, I'm gonna use these directly in the soup and not so much in the frozen soup packs. So we're gonna preserve that for the whole soup. Woo, almost there, I promise. See, there are parts where you can cut the chicken really easily. So, and I'm just apologizing how I'm butchering this chicken horribly. But it doesn't need to be beautiful, okay? I'll be honest with you. I'm not using it to plate. I'm just using it for soups. And at the very end, nobody eats the meat but me. So, I don't care what it looks like. All right. Although, to be honest, I do give my soup packs to my friends. So I'm sorry for those friends who are getting the soup and it's completely demolished. But I am doing my best. All right, so here we go. Ooh, there we go. I want a quart of this thing. There we go. All right, perfect. Oh my God, oh, the bun. My mom tells me that you don't really need it. And again, you can take it off if you like. I do take it off. But again, completely your choice. It's up to you. So for frozen soup packs for chicken, I prefer using chicken thighs rather than the whole chicken. And the reason is because it's just easier to store, easier to cut, easier to stack. So for this, I'm probably going to use All right, pretty much done. Here we go. So now I'm going to drop in the chicken to blanch everything. I blanch even the meats that I'm going to be using for my frozen soup packs. All right, so come with me. Let me wash my hands. Okay, and come with me as I drop this into the little blancher. So I've added salt. And again, the age-old debate, do you add to boiling water or not? Honestly, doesn't change the flavor. Doesn't really matter to me here at this point. It's kind of semi-boiling already, which means it will cook right away. The reason why some people do say drop it in cold water is that so that you allow some of the impurities, everything inside the bone, the blood to come out into the water first, so it's not cooked directly inside the meat. But again, completely up to you how you want to do this. All right, there we go. All right, so that's going to be 4 portions worth right there. And I need more. So I do have, let me rinse this. You can watch me, oopsies, I'm sorry. This stand is not very good. All right, so I'm going to need 2 more chicken thighs. So wait as I wash this. Okay, because I'm making 6 portions, and here's the math. Each portion serves 4 to 6 people, about 4 people. I'm making 2 of those portions as real soups, right there in my ceramic pot. And then I'm gonna make the other portion as frozen soup packs. All right, so chicken thighs are amazing for frozen soup packs. I tend not to use whole chicken. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but that's completely up to you. But chicken thighs are easy because they're stackable. That's the idea, right? And so for frozen soup packs, I will use primarily chicken thighs and less of the whole chicken. So I prepared the black silky chicken. It's actually blanching in that pot right now. And I will pre-blanch everything. So let me chop up this thigh as you watch. I really did try to prepare as much as I could before I went live, but I understand why people don't go live now. And you're just watching people chop. So I will admit, I'm not the best chopper in the world. Not really trained to do this either. I'm just like a regular person who learned to cook on her own. So there we go. Ooh, okay. Let's do finish the rest of the thigh. Oh my God. And the reason I'm wearing an apron today, I usually don't, is because I'm not a fan of the chicken juices flying everywhere at me and then the corn juices. But we dealt with the corn already and we're just now working through the chicken. So, oh. All right, no fear with the butcher knife. I'm totally demolishing this thing. I'm sorry for those who are joining me here. Oh, okay. All right, so join me. I'm gonna drop this into the blanch, the rest of the water. All right, so I've got 2 portions, that's another 2, 1 more thigh. You can, if you want, cut off all this fat. I try to rip off as much fat as I can from the chicken, but what's really useful is at the very end as well, as this is blanching, whoopsies. As that's blanching, you'll see that the foam emerges to the top, foam and oil. And what's perfect about that is that you start eliminating a lot of the foam and oil from soups. And that's why Chinese people do pre-blanch their meats, especially chicken. Chicken's probably the biggest one that has, a lot more fat that comes out. So, oh gosh, all right, getting through this slowly. However, you can also take off the fat if you're using it in the soup. I'll show you later about when the fat floats to the surface in oil scooper. And basically the oil scooper is a very fine, thin mesh, and it's fantastic because it allows the water to drain, but because the fat molecules are thicker and bigger, it actually holds it back, and then you can just throw that out. All right, almost done, I promise. Okay, here we go. Oh. All right, one more piece. Yay! Maybe not. Maybe one more piece will make it smaller. All right. Oh my God, I'm so happy I survived that. This is the first time I'm doing meat preparation like this live. The bones are usually pre-cut or whatever. And so I was a bit nervous about cutting the chicken live, but okay, I survived. All right, so let me wash my hands. I'll be right back. And I'm gonna wash this board really quickly. Okay, so come with me. Let me show you what's happening to the blanching. So we talked about if you're gonna prepare soups, I usually do either pre-blanch, pre-fry, pre-something the meats. And the whole reason is, look, because usually when you pre-blanch meats, first of all, the oil you can see is already starting to merge, which is fantastic because that oil means that's not oil going into our soup. For me, I'm not a fan of having oil in the soups. And then secondly is the foam. So chicken foams a lot more than pork, but pork bones do foam as well. They're actually more brownish foam, whereas the chicken's a white foam. And the whole point of this is really to eliminate all the impurities, the blood, the bone bits. And hold on, because I'm like the worst chopper in the world, it wasn't very clean. I'll admit, I'm not a trained chef. I just kind of hack at it with my butcher's knife. I think there are a lot of bone bits that are sitting around. And so that's why I do like putting in the blancher so that actually just all the bones just sink to the bottom. So let's look at this. How's this going? Good. All right, so the blanching, essentially, you don't want it doesn't need to be fully cooked, but if I'm doing it for frozen soup packs, I like them a little more done. That's the whole idea. All right, so while this is blanching, I'm gonna probably give that to a boil, and then I'll come back to that. So you can join me as I finish the rest of the soup. I'm gonna start making my soup now. So let that boil. And today I'm using the ceramic pot. And so the whole idea of using ceramic pot, so I'm just gonna raise this. The whole idea of using ceramic pot is if you have more herbs, and I get this question a lot, right? Do I use the metal pot? Do I use ceramic pot? Sorry. If you're using more herbs, the idea, and this is why traditional Chinese medicine is made in clay pots, ceramic pots, is because the metal will interact with the properties of the herbs. How? Unsure, but it has always been made with ceramic or clay pots just so that the properties that you're using that come out of the herbs don't interact with the metal, and it keeps it quite clean. And so today I'm using this pot versus I have clay pots as well, or my stainless steel pot or my thermal cooker. And so that's because I'm using quite a bit of herbs today, and it's a warming, healing chicken herbal soup. And so for those just joining, the base is really just red dates, dried tangerine peels, which I'm gonna actually prepare right now and show you how to do that, Chinese yam, dried scallops, licorice root, here, dried scallops, licorice root, which look like this. These are very warming. I'm gonna add only 2 slices, I do need a lot, and melons, dried dragonite fruit, all warming ingredients, and wolfberries. All of these are warming. The whole point is that it is a warming soup, and so I try not to have anything that are contradictory in terms of warming and cooling. All right, that's gonna boil. I'll get to that in a bit. Actually, maybe I'll add water to the soup pot first and let that boil. 1 second. All right, so I'm gonna add water now to my soup pot. So I'll add about 2.5 liters. Which serves about family of 5 to 6. Okay, there, perfect. And because of the volume of ingredients, it's best to actually make sure it's like half pot, like pretty good. All right, let's turn this on. High. All right, tangerine peels. All right, so this is a fantastic ingredient for, oh my God, there's so many things that tangerine peel does. So this is a dry tangerine peel. I've not soaked it long enough. Look, it's kind of getting soft already. They come pretty hard when they're dried. And this ingredient is amazing for increasing yang or warming the body. It's great for lungs. It targets the lungs. It helps dispel phlegm. It's one of the great ingredients. Oh, I forgot ginger today. I'll put a few slices in. It's one of the greater ingredients that you can use for warming soups and herbal teas. And also the Chinese like to cut them up in little slices and add them to dishes, but it is warming, very healthy. I always keep a bunch in my pantry. So let me show you how we do this. Look right here. So what you want to do is soak your tangerine peel. They come like this, hard and crumpled. Some of the more expensive ones are darker. There's actually a very big range on the cost of these things depending on how they're produced, how long they've been aged for. So these are one of the interesting ingredients in Chinese herbal medicine where there's an aging factor. And so the longer they're aged, like you'll hear like a 50-year-old tangerine peel, those cost more. But you can find cheaper ones that are just essentially dried. You can even dry your own depending on where you are in the world. And so my mother-in-law does dry her own, which is quite fascinating. And so I will drop these in dried. Let me turn off this. I will drop these in dried to frozen soup packs. But if I'm using it for soups today, I'm gonna be putting it in there. I am gonna prepare it. And so what you wanna do here, oh my gosh, this thing is not great. Hold on. All right, so what you wanna do here is with the dried tangerine peel, it's kind of soft already. This is 10 minutes that it's been soaking in, like this. And if you rub it around, you'll find that this inside part is actually what comes off. This is the bitter part. This is the part, the outside part is the more valuable part. This is the part you want to keep. And so what you can do is, if it's soft enough, just scrape it with a knife like this, and it'll come off. Like that. It'll come off like slush or mush, whatever that is. Like that. And that's the part we really don't want. It's the more bitter part of the ingredient, like that. Okay, that's it. And then you just rinse it in water, like that. And essentially what you want to do is, it's this piece, the outer piece, that we're looking for in terms of the benefits. And so that's how I prepare dried tangerine peels. So for those curious, this is how you can do it at home. But I mean, honestly, if you want to drop it in like this, whole dried, it works too. And so that's done. And then what we're gonna do is allow that to boil. And you can watch, come with me as you see what's happened with the blanching. See? So all that foam comes out, all the oil is coming out, and which is perfect. You can, if you want, take that out and just rinse it. I'm just gonna slosh it around in the water. I've turned that off, I'm gonna let that boil. I'm just gonna slosh it around in the water and then transfer it, because I do have an oil scooper, which I use at the end, to scoop out any debris and oil that comes out afterwards. All right. Chinese yam. So let's prepare this. Chinese yam comes in two versions. We've got the dried version. So if you really can't find this wherever you live, it's not common actually. You can buy dried. And I keep this in my pantry all year round. This is perfect for most herbal soups. Chinese yam is actually a very neutral ingredient. It's perfect with both cooling and warming soups, although highly complementary to chicken soups, chicken and red dates. That's kind of how the combination goes, but you can do fresh or dried. Some people do soak these ahead of time just to soften it. And because how they're processed, there is thought and actually some research that some of these ingredients, fox nuts, Chinese yam, any of the white dried Chinese herbs have sulfur in them. And that's just because of how they're processed. And again, how much sulfur, again, buy it from a reliable source. That's all I have to say, is that you'll know because it's very whitish powder. So what you can do is just rinse these under water just to get some of that sulfur and the processing stuff that comes off as well. So I will rinse this. And soak it for a bit. All right, so that's that. And I'm gonna cut up the Chinese yam now. So if you buy fresh, truly fresh, whole Chinese yam, it comes really long, brown skin, and it's slimy. And so what you wanna do though is wear gloves when you're using Chinese yam, especially when it's fresh, because it does make your fingers itchy. And that's just the nature of the product. But this has been pre-cut and pre-peeled for me from the supermarket. So actually and it dried out a little bit. And so it's actually not even slimy anymore. But if you do buy it fresh, which I love, Hong Kong, Asia has fresh Chinese yam, it's the best. The Japanese use it all the time, is that you'll peel the skin and it's like slimy, literally like slime. And then just wear gloves when you're doing it. But because these are dried, I'm just gonna use them for my hands. So I'm gonna make 6 portions with 4 of these. So all you need to do is just cut whatever size you want. Oopsies, sorry about that. And because I'm using this in frozen soup packs, I will make them smaller, like that. But for my soup, I might make the big ones. Okay, there, let's do that. So this is what they look like. You can't really see it because it's dried out a little bit, but it does have a really slimy surface, right? And what you want to do is just use gloves if you're going to be peeling them and cutting them. And so it is quite a fascinating experience and a very good, it's a great product. It's a great actually produce to use and eat. And some people do eat this with their soups. The Japanese use this as like, they'll marinate them. Very healthy ingredient if you can find it wherever you are. But if you can't find them, go dried. And you can keep dried ones in your pantry all year round. And they're just as fantastic and good for soups. All right, so this is kind of boiling. So come with me as we start dropping stuff into the soup. Today we're making a Chinese herbal warming soup, and that's because my daughter went to see a doctor and he said she's got excess yin. So what we want to do is have a little more yang in the body to balance it out. And I know it's hot outside, so some might argue, but it's hot outside, you can't make a warming soup. Sure you can. Because actually what you want to do is be addressing what's happening on the inside primarily more than what's happening on the outside first. Oh, and that's what really balancing like the yin and yang within the body is all about, right? And that's what traditional Chinese medicine is. So I didn't finish my whole certification to become a Chinese doctor. It's far too long. It's like 8 years part-time. But it had started the courses. So it's quite interesting just to know some of these things about how the herbs, our bodies are balanced and how things work out. So what we're gonna do now is transfer, I'm gonna take out all my chicken first and then portion out what I need for the frozen soup packs as well as the soup today. I'm so sorry, you can see my bike there. All right, so what we're gonna do here, so see how much oil there is? This is ridiculous. There's actually a lot of oil here. So what I'm gonna do now is just take out this, the chicken thighs here. The chicken thighs are what I use for the soup packs. Today I'm gonna be using, so this is chicken thigh. For the soup here next door, right there, that's already kind of boiling. I'm gonna use all the other black silky chicken parts that I'm not going to be putting inside my frozen soup packs because these things don't stack very well. And I like my frozen soup packs compact because they go into either a rice cooker or into a small pot. But if you're making a giant pot like this, this is perfect for whole chicken pieces. And I also mentioned all parts hate wasting chicken, and the Chinese don't waste anything. And so even the chicken head, don't tell the kids that I have it, and the chicken neck we use for soups. And so what the black silky chicken today is really the highlight along with all the herbs. And this is what's going to make the herbal warming soup. So I'm gonna put all the big pieces in like this, but any of the smaller pieces like this, I will keep and reserve for my frozen soup packs. Even the feet, okay? So the feet's going in, and the feet are amazing. For those who don't like chicken feet, they are an amazing source of collagen. I will do them in stews, soups, and the more chicken feet I add, you'll find that the soup thickens. That's the best part. Fish heads do the same. Actually, I should do a fish head soup for you one day, just to show you the day after how collagenized, like how much collagen there is in the soup, which is perfect. And that's a natural collagen, which I feel is best. Everything out of nature. All right, so all these little chicken thigh pieces, even the black chicken, I'm going to hold and save for my frozen soup packs. And that's because they can stack. So this turned off. The rest of the chicken. So this is going into my soup. All right, how are we doing? Oh, chicken feet. So, age-old debate as well. Do you cut the nails or not off the chicken feet when you do it in soups? I tend to cut them off just so that everything else can come out. If there's any oil, which not a lot, comes out as well. Some people don't cut off the nails, which is fine too. That's your choice. You're eating them. All right, so just give me 1 second as I finish the rest taking out of this. All right, here we go. Oh gosh, there's so many pieces here. All right, I think we're done. We are. All right, so turn that up low. So what's gonna happen here is you can actually rinse this as well in warm water just to get rid of all the extra debris that's floated up. Your choice as well. So I'm gonna leave this aside, hold on. All right, and come back with me as we finish the rest of the soup right there. All right, so I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do. This is a Chinese herbal warming soup that we're gonna do today. The ingredients are, we're gonna start putting in now. So it's pretty much boiling, which is fantastic. Chinese yam, this is going in as well. So I've got, is this enough going on? Maybe I'll save a bit more for the soup packs. All right, so I'm gonna put about this much inside. This portion is going to feed about 6 people. And so it's not a lot, it's a little more dense. I usually make a bigger pot, just because that's how I roll. But I'm using fresh yam and I'm using dried yams as well right here, right? And so I'm just gonna, oops, sorry. So I have rinsed it in water. I'm not gonna drop them all in. I'm gonna save some for the frozen soup packs. And because I'm using fresh yam as well, I don't need a lot for the soup packs. Just drop that in like that. And the dried tangerine peel. So earlier I prepared it already. I'd actually scraped off all the insides and they're all in there floating around. What you wanna do preserve is the outside. Don't scrape that off, you can't really. But it's the inside of the tangerine peel after you soak it that actually makes it a little more bitter. And if you scrape off more, it doesn't make it so bitter in the soup and you can't really taste it that much. So this is going in as well. And then I've portioned out this way. So I've got 4 dried red dates for the soup, for each portion. So I'm just gonna drop this in as well. The rest is going to be for my frozen soup packs, which I will make in conjunction and show you how I do that as well. And so this is what I'm calling economy of scale. If I'm making a soup, I'm gonna make a frozen soup pack at the same time, since all the ingredients are laid out and I have everything. And so today I'm making 2 portions of soup, and I'm gonna make 4 little baggies of frozen soup packs at the same time. So basically I've cut all the ingredients, it's laid out on my counter, I'll show you. And then I'm gonna pack it while this is cooking for tonight's dinner. And I'm gonna just drop in 5 florins as well for each portion. What else do I got? Oh, dried scallops. So same thing. I think I did 5 scallops like this per portion. So this is going into, I think I might be short, but anyway, like that. And then the dried wolfberries. So just a handful of these are fine. That's it, pretty much. I think I've got all my, oh, corn. Corn is going to. So we talked about portioning the corn. It's going to be half a corn for each portion. So this one I'm probably gonna put a whole corn in. 2, 3. Oh, you can come watch as I. Not very good with this live thing, eh, guys? I'm sorry. There. All right, 1, 2, 3. Put another one in. That's about it. So that's it. And that's essentially, oh. And 2 pieces of licorice root going in. So this is the base. That's it for the Chinese soup today. It's going to be an herbal warming chicken Chinese soup. And what I've got in there is, for people joining, black silky chicken. It's a chicken with black skin. You could Wikipedia this type of breed. Tangerine peels, red dates, dried Long Ons, dried scallops, licorice peel, Chinese yam, at the bottom, they've sank to the bottom here, and corn. And that's really it. It's that simple. And this is basically everything I have in my basic pantry, which I will talk about in another post. And that's it. That's it. You cover it and you let that boil for like a happy 2 hours at least, on low heat, and that's what I'll do. And now the fun part is I'm going to start packing, because I have all the ingredients out anyway, I've prepared everything. I'm going to start packing the frozen soup packs, and while the main soup is cooking. And the whole idea is economies of scale. So let me wash my hands, I'll be right back. And the key here, for those who are interested in learning how to make frozen soup packs, I would suggest it if you have time, if you're gonna make the soup anyway, is that all the meats here, proteins, everything has 100% been cut, prepped, blanched, and cooled. And the idea is that you freeze it, and then you take it out of your freezer when you need the soup. You drop it in your rice cooker, add water, and cook. And so everything's already been prepared. So it's literally like, do nothing and let the rice cooker cook it. And then you'll have a nice Chinese soup at the end of the cooking session. So that's why I actually do all the work up front. Like right now, I've cut and prepped all the chicken and blanched everything so that when I do frozen packs, they're prepared. And when I give them to friends, it's super easy because they just open it and drop it in and make it. All right, so how do you do frozen soup packs? So I get this question a lot too, because I've been kind of just showcasing some of the frozen soup packs I make. What you'll need is these little baggies. You can buy them on Amazon or Temu, and then a sealer like that. So you'll need a vacuum seal. The vacuum seals actually, the vacuum seals, you can do dry or wet ingredients, but essentially when you want to make frozen soup packs, it's with this and just a sealer. So today I'm making on the stove right there, I'm making the warming herbal Chinese soup. That's for dinner. But because I prepared everything anyway by taking all the ingredients, I'm just gonna make 4 additional soup packs to leave in my freezer for another day. And so that's kind of really the purpose of doing this. So let me walk you through how I do this. I'll make 1 portion, and then I'm sorry, I'm going to have to turn you off because I think it's just weird. And I understand the purpose of live is for that purpose. I just think it's weird as I'm like packing and people just watch me, because quite honestly, to be successful at live, sometimes I just feel like I have to talk. So I'm gonna talk you through this one and explain it. So today we're making a Chinese warming herbal soup. All the ingredients are here, and I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna do this now. All right, so here. Essentially, what I'll do first, so if you're making frozen soup packs like this, 1 second, I need to wipe down my counter. Don't like dirty spaces. Okay, so essentially, if you're gonna make frozen soup packs, what I do is I actually write the date of production in like a little corner. And for those at home, like if you're watching this, today is July 5th. I do not sell these commercially. Okay, so essentially what I do is like they are for friends and some private sale packs. But I've thought about launching a whole business around this, but not right now. So there. And that's why I did end up making all these signage for fun, but not going anywhere right now. So to make the frozen soup pack, I like stacking. Meats go on the bottom first. Let's portion this out. So because this is going to be the chicken base. So see, everything's pre-washed, pre-cut, pre-blanched. And it's kind of been cooling here for a little bit. And so the idea is that when you make this like soup pack later time, everything's already done, right? Like the whole idea is that you just rip it open and you drop it into your rice cooker, add water, and cook. And that's really it. And so just portion out as best you can. Oopsies, the Chinese yam's going in as well, like this. Oh, the corn. corn. So corn has 2 pieces each. And then the Chinese yam, like that. Okay, so you just keep adding everything that you have portioned out. I'm using Chinese yam, dried, frozen, dried longnans as well. This is going in. The dried red dates as well. So I have 4 red dates, oopsies. 4 red dates per frozen soup pack, like this. Just a little bit of goji berries, like this. And 2 licorice roots, sorry, just brain fog for a bit. And then tangerine peel. So I talked about how you can prepare these ahead of time, but I'm not going to. And for this, I'm going to just rip them up like this. So let's see, I'll probably do this portion like that. So there you go. That's what you've got for 1 portion of a Chinese frozen soup pack for me today. I'm gonna make 4, so I'm actually gonna add another piece of chicken here. Just looking at like how much volume I've got. 1, 2, 3. Okay, perfect. All right, so there. So come with me. Oh, dried scallops. Folks, I totally forgot. All right, so about 5. They go in like that. And that's it, really. That's one frozen soup pack. It's the Chinese herbal warming soup. So come with me. I'm gonna show you how to use that thing. That thing is a sealer. It's a vacuum sealer, actually. Sorry. See, I tell you, it's too early, but not really. All right, so this thing, and because the soup pack is so small, which I love, and the reason why it's so small is because I'm using chicken thighs. I'm going to cut this just a bit at the top, like this. All you really need is like 2 inches from the top so that this goes in. This is a wet dry sealer, which is perfect. So if you have a bit of wet ingredients, it's fine as well. And you put it in here, you have to make sure that like these little holes are free, because that's where it vacuums. Oh, there. And literally, oh, magic. That's so cool. And then it seals. So it vacuums it, you know it's working, because like, look at that, it's like shriveled up, right? So all the air has been completely removed. It seals. And then I have to release the air inside there to take this out. All right, there. Easy. Isn't that wonderful? And that's done. That's essentially how easy it is to make frozen soup packs. And I really encourage you to like try this at home, especially if you're making soup anyway, right? Because you've got it done. You've prepared the ingredients. So it totally makes sense to just go economies of scale, make a little more, and there you go. So this is a Chinese warming herbal soup. And because it's transparent, I can see the ingredients, which is quite nice. But to be honest, sometimes I do make, and so see how the edge is like. The reason why the pack is so small is because I'm using 1, it's herbal, which means there's less vegetables. So if you're using more like carrots, radishes, it's gonna be a lot bigger in volume. And I'm using chicken thighs, which are smaller in size. You can use the whole chicken if you want. And so because it's transparent, you can actually see what's inside, which is fantastic. It's harder when it's frozen to see what's inside. So what I've done is I've got these little labels, which I do like write. Okay, fine, you can watch me as I write. Right? I put the date on, so the date's right there, so I know production date. And then I'll write like chicken warming herbal soup, and that's how I basically know what it is. Chicken warming herbal, oh god, I can't spell soup. Awful handwriting today. It's because I'm nervous every time I go live, and I'll be honest about that. I was nervous about chopping the chicken, okay? But I kind of survived that. So these labels are freezer friendly. I got these from Temu, really cheap. And I'll just use a permanent marker and write it down. All right, so there, 1 soup pack, I'm done. Fantastic, eh? And I'll keep this in the freezer, and they stack really nicely like this. So I'm gonna make 1 more to show you how this is done while my soup is still cooking. That's gonna be a 2 to 3, probably a 3-hour affair on low heat. And so what you want to do is like with herbal soups, especially like the long boil, so it's called lo fo tong in a Cantonese, means it's a little bit longer boil. I will keep that on low heat. And I'm using ceramic pot today, or actually the Corningware today. So either ceramic or clay pot for herbal soups. All right, I'm gonna make one more. You can watch if you'd like. Here, let me show you. So making frozen soup packs out of all the ingredients because I'm making soup anyway. All right, so what do we do here? Write the date, July 5th. And the reason I date it is just so that I know when I produced it. And for fun, because I also give these to friends, and I produced a whole massive lot of stickers for fun. I put the sticker on. And so essentially, meats go down. This is going to be my second one. I'm making 4 portions today. Here we go. Go, one more, and I'll have enough for 2 more down there. Yep. This one's going to be a bit bigger pack. All right, so that goes in like that. I tend to put the meats on the bottom first. Chinese yam, so this is fresh Chinese yam. I've also got dried Chinese yams going in there like that. And corn, so 2 pieces of corn, there we go. Dried scallops, 5 pieces. 1 dried tangerine peel, which is perfect, get in there. 5 dried longanians in there. 4 cut red dates, so that's 2, 4 in there. And then just a handful of wolfberries, like that. There we go. Is that everything? Oh no, like dried licorice root. This is the Chinese warming herbal soup. That's basically how it works. And because, okay, come with me now as I seal this. And because these are small soup packs, I cut them just to make it smaller. What you want is at least 2 inches from the top. So the 2 inches is gonna allow that seal to happen. So there we go, let's do this. See how that goes. You can't see what's going on. Oh my God, what's going on? That's the worst cut ever. Okay, here we go. It's not working right. Something's not right. Okay, but come with me as I seal this. All right, and then we can call it. I promise you I'm almost done for today. I think I've played enough. This is me having fun. And I'm done playing today. Okay, here. So, I said before, if you can see, quite easy. Just goes in here. So the sealer is right here at the bottom. And so just stick it in. Make sure it's these holes aren't covered. Okay. Oh, magic. I love watching this thing. It's so fascinating. But that's how you know it's working. When it starts shriveling up like that. And I'm sorry if I'm missing the comments. It's because I'm not really good at this live thing. Okay, it's pretty much sealed. That was the seal, the vacuum first. And I just release all the air inside and open it. Ta-da! Look at that! So I really encourage, like, if you really want to try making soup packs at home, to get this little thing, this little machine over there. I'll drop it inside. No ginger. Yes, you're right. I forgot about my ginger. Yes, actually the healing soup should have ginger in. Great point. I'm gonna add that right now. So I'm gonna add that to my soup there. And well, too bad for these 2 soup packs. Thank you. I totally forgot. I'll link the sealer as well. This one's really compact. There are dry, wet ones that you can use. The dry one works actually, they're cheaper, but the dry one works. So I find that the dry one's okay because I don't use a lot of wet ingredients actually, but some people do, right? They'll actually, for example, the reason you'll use a wet sealer is if you're doing a coconut chicken soup. And what you want to do is keep the coconut reserve, the coconut water. Then you can add the coconut water into the frozen soup pack as well and then seal that, right? And that's like how you do a wet one. But I'm gonna get ginger. Good point. Sorry. All right, I do have ginger. So I'm gonna watch as I finish this next ginger part. Okay, so I'm just gonna use a few slices of ginger into the soup as well. Thank you, I forgot about that. Sorry, cut this real quick. So I'm gonna put 3 ginger slices like this into the soup. Kids aren't a fan of spicy. Good, so that's boiling nicely. Just gonna keep that on low heat for a good 3 hours, to be honest with you. I have 2 more soup packs to do, and then I'm done. So anyway, thank you for that. I will post this, what I'm using, as well on the link. And then also these like little packs here. And so essentially that's it for today. Thanks for joining. So for those who are just catching up and joining right now, I've just made a Chinese herbal warming chicken soup. All warming today. It's because my daughter's got excess yin, which means she's too cooling inside. And so what we're gonna do is balance that out with a little more yang in her body. And at the same time, while I'm making the soup anyway, I went and made frozen soup packs. And so these ones are missing ginger, which is fine. But essentially, it's got chicken and a lot of herbs in here. You can see, actually, this is the great thing about these frozen soup these packages, is that you can actually see what's inside, right? And so I've actually pre-cut, pre-washed, pre-blanched all the meats and the proteins. And the idea is that all you need to do is just rip this bottom right here and drop it into your rice cooker. Drop it in your rice cooker, add water, and then set cook. And so that's essentially it. So today was very productive. If you think about what happened, I made a soup for dinner, and that's gonna be for dinner right there. And I'm gonna make 4 frozen soup packs like this, which I'm gonna keep in the freezer and use for a later date or give to friends.